you don't struggle to rest just because you love working. You struggle to rest because your brain is in constant fight or flight mode and your environment is keeping you there. Every sticky note in your line of sight, every Slack ping, every messy desktop tab is basically screaming, hey, we're not done yet. And your brain believes it. So even when you're trying to unplug, you can't. Hello, my friend, and welcome back. Today, we are talking about the real reason you can't unplug. And this is something that I actually feel like I've been starting to get a hang of recently. I'll be the first to tell you I mega struggle with this one. I am somebody who generally struggles to unplug. I am totally the person who has like 80 bajillion ideas constantly. I struggle to turn my brain off, but I feel like there have been some little things that I've been doing recently, like over the last several months, that I think have helped tremendously with this. And I've been really kind of trying to play around and dig into the research as to why this is something that I've been feeling. And the fact of the matter is, I've been feeling this because of just the clutter in my environment. There is actually a ton of research out there that shows that clutter, physical and digital clutter, keeps your cortisol, your stress hormone, elevated all day, especially if you are somebody who you're working from home. So you're constantly seeing your, personal clutter around you, or maybe your desk and your workspace at work also feels that way. And the fact of the matter is our brain actually really loves order and predictability, which is really funny because I feel like routine and the notion of things being routine gets villainized all the time. Like that routine is the enemy of, I don't remember what that quote is, but it's essentially villainizing things being routine as somehow being something that costs you. But the fact of the matter is our brain loves it. Our brain loves order. Our brain loves predictability. And when we have visual chaos in our environment, it can tell that things are out of control, which triggers like a low grade fight or flight, like not full blown crazy chaotic fight or flight, but like low grade fight or flight. Okay. Clutter, I think, is something that is, I think, a really underappreciated aspect of what can contribute to the stresses in our lives. Because essentially, when you have clutter, clutter is competing for your attention. You end up splitting your focus. It drains your mental energy before you've even opened your laptop. And like, think about when then you're trying to relax in the evening, chill out, maybe have your glass of wine, watch your TV show, whatever it might be. If you then have clutter around you, that even more so is going to prevent you feeling like you can turn off. Like I constantly feel like when my environment is cluttered, even if it's just like dishes piling up in the sink or a whole bunch of like unfolded laundry somewhere, especially when you live in 500 square feet and you can see your whole world all in one view, like I can't turn off because there's more to do. Ellen, there's more to do. You can't do this yet. You can't rest yet. We got to do this. We got to do that. Like this is actually something that burnout researchers say creates this sort of like constant sort of unfinished business. And your brain, especially if you are a high achiever or a perfectionist or something like that, your brain refuses to relax until it thinks that the work is done. So like that part of my brain that is constantly being like, Ellen, you've got more to do. You've got more to do. That's where that's coming from. So there's layers to this though. And I think we used to just think of this as being physical clutter, but there's actually 3 different layers to the clutter that's kind of sabotaging our ability to rest. There's the mental clutter that can happen when we don't have systems to capture or things aren't getting automated. Everything lives in our head and that creates mental clutter. So you're kind of mentally scanning not only your environment, but your to-do list while you're like brushing your teeth. That's that sort of mental clutter. There's also, especially with the way we live nowadays, there's digital clutter. Maybe it's your tabs that are multiplying like rabbits. Maybe you have 800 plus unread emails or constant notifications. Each of these types of things, each new tab, each new email, each new notification is basically creating a micro stress response that is killing your focus. And then last but not least, the OG form of clutter is the physical clutter. Your messy desk, piles of paper, random stuff on every surface. Your environment is literally visually telling your brain there's more to do. So that is kind of where this comes from, okay? And some of the things that I've been really working on doing and some of the things that I'm going to be sharing in an upcoming challenge, spoiler alert, if you want to join, head to coachellen.com/challenge. But how I've been kind of working on this and kind of trying to build a environment for myself that allows for that rest is I kind of stopped thinking about, oh, my length of my to-do list is the problem or how overloaded my calendar is the problem. And I started thinking about how is my environment contributing to the ways in which I feel and my ability or inability to unplug on any given day. And I realized I had to make my brain believe it was safe for me to rest. And so some of the things that I've kind of been doing, and I'm touching the surface in this because the fact of the matter is, each of these things could be a much deeper dive. Like we could very deeply dive into mental clutter, into digital clutter, into physical clutter, but I'm trying to give you like a high level overview of some of the things that I've been doing that have been contributing a lot to me feeling a lot more mentally at ease and therefore more able to unplug. So, on the digital side of things, on the digital declutter, as you know, I'm like a systems nerd. So, this is like my fave. But on the digital side of things, one of the things I've started doing is for whatever reason, I felt like I had to keep all of my ChatGPT conversations up on my browser at all times so that I like didn't lose track of the important conversations that I was having. And what it led to is I already have a lot of um, pinned tabs, which I'm kind of currently, this is kind of a subside of this, is I'm more currently working on like detoxing the pinned tabs that I have open in Chrome all the time. But there's a period of time where I would have all these pinned tabs open, and then I would, constantly feel overwhelmed every single time I opened my browser, right? And so with ChatGPT, one of the things that I've started doing is I started using a ChatGPT naming system. So I could close tabs, not only without losing work, but without feeling like I lost that conversation. That was an important conversation that was leading to ahas and to-dos and, level ups. I've also started really leveraging Chrome's ability to group tabs. This is actually something that Chrome has had the ability to do for a very long time. If you're on Google Chrome, you can right click on any tab and then go add to group and then do new groups and end up grouping important tabs together. I do this all the time when I'm tutoring, but even right now, I have a tabbed group called Zaps of Zapier Zaps that I'm working on consolidating and moving kind of some of these into Notion. So like these are all things that I'll kind of use it to keep track of and to consolidate down and essentially visually organize the things that I'm looking at. But actually, pro tip with these grouped tabs that you can do on Chrome, an update that they launched, I think like a year or so ago, which I feel like was very underappreciated for me for a very long time, is I would group all of these tabs together and then I would keep the groups up forever and ever and ever and ever, thinking, well, I can't close them because I'm going to lose them, right? Like these zaps that I want to eventually consolidate down, I can't close them or I'm going to lose them. But actually, about a year ago, I think it was, they released an update to this feature on Google Chrome where if you right click on one of those groups of tabs, you can close the group, but on your bookmarks bar, that tab group lives. That tab group stays open so that you can go back and access it later. You don't lose those tabs that you have grouped together intentionally. They just kind of live on your bookmarks bar until you're ready to reopen that tab group again. So that's kind of some digital decluttering, even just like in your browser, right? But also your second brain is a great way to digital declutter. So like you guys hear me talk about Notion all the time. My Notion and my Notion dashboards, these are like the homes for all my projects, all of my ideas. Every bit of information that kind of comes into and out of my world gets dumped into Notion. And the beauty of that, the reason why I think a second brain is such a beautiful tool for digital decluttering is because then when I need to find something, I go into Notion and I just search Notion. I'm not like clicking around in Notion. I'm literally pulling up the search bar in Notion and I'm searching for it. This also helps me do a whole bunch of other things. Like I was able to leverage this to essentially use my Notion AI as a sort of life coach and find patterns in like my journal entries and stuff like that. That's an aside. I'm currently in the process of editing a YouTube video all about that, but my video editor keeps crashing. It's a whole thing. But having a second brain and having a single app that you go to and you dump all of the important information into, whether it's notes or projects or tasks or to-dos, whatever it might be, that is another way to digitally declutter. Automated reminders in workflows, in tools like Relay or Zapier, that is another way to digitally declutter. But even beyond that, I have been actually, like I mentioned a second ago, working to consolidate down the tools I'm using. Once again, I am somebody who is, my natural tendency is because I just like trying things and experimenting with things. I end up with being like kind of a systems overcomplicator because I am constantly trying new things. And the fact of the matter is I like Zapier, but Zapier is really expensive. And I actually find it's not the best when it comes to bringing in AI. So I've been experimenting with the tool called Relay. And then I've also, in the process of doing that, been starting to experiment with bringing some of my Zapier automations, like for example, my client onboarding, into my Notion systems and leveraging Notion AI and Notion automations instead of Zapier. So I'm actually trying to consolidate down the tech that I'm using even to do my automations and my workflows. Instead of being Relay, Zapier, and Notion AI, I'm trying to bring it down to just being Notion and Relay. I'm eventually hoping to get to the point where I just have one, but there's just some stuff that Notion AI isn't able to do yet. So those are kind of 4 different ways, actually more than that, of ways I'm digitally decluttering. I talked about consolidating down my ChatGPT tabs by using a naming strategy that makes it easier to get back to the conversations I'm having. Talked about grouping tabs on Google Chrome. Talked about using Notion like my second brain where I can dump all this information into. We talked about automating reminders, consolidating your tech. But what about like the physical side of things? Because I think all of that digital decluttering is also contributing to mentally helping me declutter. But what about the physical side of things? What about the physical reset? I think an easy one is clear surfaces, clear mind, right? I actually am so grateful that I don't know what compelled this, but when I moved into my studio apartment that I'm in now, about 2.5 years ago at this point, God, I cannot believe I've been here for 2.5 years. That's nuts, actually. But when I moved in here, I really knew that I wanted my surfaces to be clear. So like you can kind of see the corner of it right behind me. My island is always clear. There's never stuff accumulated on my island. And if it is, it gets moved very quickly. Like I might put mail there temporarily when I check my mail. I might put my laundry there when I have laundry that needs to be folded. And it's actually kind of a visual cue that when there's stuff on that, Ellen has stuff she needs to clean up. So I actually always end up piling my laundry on there because that is a in my face visual cue of Ellen, you need to fold your laundry. Let's get this taken care of. Same thing within my bathroom. Same thing with on my desk. My desk is actually pretty clear. I have like certain things that live on my desk. Like I've got this little whiteboard. I've got a tissue box. I've got my iPad, and then I've got like little knickknacks for inspiration and my blue blockers. But like my desk's pretty clear too. So clear spaces equal clear minds. That's kind of a good mindset to have in. So if you can have clear surfaces, that's going to really help a lot as well. I'm not saying like be a minimalist here because I am not a minimalist by any stretch, but can we have clear surfaces? Because if you have clear surfaces, you're going to have a clear mind. Some other great rules to leverage as well, and good kind of mindsets to step into from a physical reset and a physical decluttering perspective is the one touch rule. And the one touch rule is essentially if you are going to touch something, you're only going to touch it once. So if you're going to, pick up that blanket, put the blanket away. If you're going to pick up that shirt off the floor in your closet, hang that shirt up or fold that shirt. The idea being we don't want to touch things multiple times. We don't want to pick up the shirt and throw it into a pile just to deal with that pile later. The one touch rule is a really, really great rule to essentially tell yourself, okay, if I'm going to even put hands on this, I'm going to do the thing right now that I need to do to put that thing away, right? Another great rule to think about is the 2-minute rule. This rule, I think I originally learned about this rule in the book Getting Things Done by David Allen. And the idea behind the 2-minute rule is if it takes 2 minutes or less, just do it. So like your garbage, if your garbage is sitting out ready to be taken out, if it takes 2 minutes or less, just go take out the garbage. If you have, that's I think it applies to some of the stuff we were talking about hanging up just a second ago. If you have that thing that needs to be hung up or that your bed needs to be made or that blanket needs to be folded or that dish needs to be washed, if it takes 2 minutes or less, do it. And don't be a perfectionist about this either. I think it is one of those things that can easily become like a place to beat yourself up. Like dishes, we all have our weak points. Dishes, for example, I hate doing dishes. It always takes me forever to do dishes. I kind of suck at the 2-minute rule when it comes to doing dishes. But with a lot of other things, I'm able to leverage that. So it's not about being perfect with this, but I think it's a good kind of gut check. It's a good reminder. And then last but not least, having a dedicated home for everything, because then visual noise disappears and you don't end up constantly looking for things. I can't tell you how many times I lose my keys when I don't put them back where they belong. I have a little drawer in the little unit that lives right next to my door. It's kind of this vertical unit that I use for shoe storage. Basically all of my shoes fit inside of that hanger guy. But like I have a little drawer in it and that is where my keys go. And you know what? The only times I lose my keys is when I don't put them back there. And I think we can all relate to that. The only time I lose my remote is when it doesn't go back in its little home on my coffee table. So those dedicated homes for things make such a big difference. So why does this matter for you? These are obviously just some ideas to get you started, but the fact of the matter is you cannot be burnout proof if your environment is keeping you in survival mode. Okay. This is perhaps an aspect of burnout prevention and burnout management and recovery that I don't necessarily feel like I talk about enough. But the fact of the matter is, you cannot be burnout proof if your environment is contributing to that chaos and to that, feeling like you're in fight or flight. The mental and digital resets are powerful, just as powerful as automations and all of these other systems that we talk about when it comes to protecting your energy and protecting your peace, frankly. So something that I'm doing, and actually it's going to be happening next week as this podcast goes live. So from August, I think it's the 25th to the 28th, I'm going to be running this inside of my free community. I'm going to be doing a workspace reset challenge. It's going to be all about how can we clear the physical, digital, and therefore mental clutter that's keeping you from truly resting. We start on August 25th. Okay. We're going to do 5 days completely free, zero cost. And the goal is you're going to leave with a workspace that feels calm, that feels focused and done at the end of the day. So your brain can actually let you rest. Okay. The link's in the show notes, or you can go ahead and go to coachellen.com. Again, ELLYN, coachellen.com/challenge. And join us. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to do this one again, but it felt like such an important time because, back to school is just for students. I feel like we're all kind of switching into this mentality in September as summer wraps up and as we head into fall. What a great way to kind of invite that and to set ourselves up for success than to do this little reset challenge together. Okay. So again, go to coachellen.com/challenge. Or if you are like on your mobile right now, go on over to Instagram, head to Coach Ellen, again, ELLYN. DM me challenge, and I will send you all of the information so you get registered and join us. But with that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you so much. And with that, stay relentless, achievers, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.